Feel like lucid be my dreams. Said you love me, so I'm sure you know the means. It's like I'm living all inside a movie in a dream. Sequels to my life entirely up to me. Slowly suffocating, do you notice how it feels? Baby, can you hold me while I'm running through the field? Like,
it's a lot of shit I want to say about this.
With the NBA season a third of the way through, we can now start to get a good framework of how this season is playing out. And if what we've seen so far is any indication of what's to come, we are in the midst of the biggest talent boom in NBA history. From top to bottom, the league is flooded with players who can go and get 30, 40 any given night. Rotational guys dropping triple doubles, and the superstars of the league all simultaneously shattering records. Take a look at the current MVP race, and it resembles something closer to an all-time ranking than an MVP leaderboard. 29, 12, and 11, 33, 5, and 6, 35, 8, and 8, 29, 6, and 10, 31, 4, and 7, 28, 9, and 6. Not only are all of these guys having MVP caliber seasons, they're all having historically great seasons.
Yeah.
In fact, their numbers are so good, it has led some fans to question the very validity of stats in the NBA today. That these numbers aren't a direct result of how good these players are, but a result of stat inflation, a symptom of today's faster pace.
To an extent, yeah. I'm gonna get to it.
Offensively favorable rules, and how these stats are being interpreted has created a divide among NBA fans. Are the players of today actually better than players of the past? Or are they simply beneficiaries of a league catered for bigger numbers?
Gonna say a little bit of both, but I'll get to it.
Today's video is sponsored by Draft. Receive and stay in fantasy code JxmyHighroller only on DraftKings.
Alright.
100 points. This used to mean something. A scoring threshold that once happened infrequent enough that it was worthy of a small prize for everyone involved. Seeing triple digits on the scoreboard was once a treat, warrant of a celebration, and the alternative happened far more often. But today, this is not the case. 100 points is a drop in the bucket. Teams are hitting triple digits in the third quarter. Games ending with scores in the 130s, 140s more often than under 100. And as these point totals have ballooned at an unprecedented rate, so has everything else. 30 points is the new 20 points. Tune in on any given night, and there's a great chance you'll see someone drop 40. And it's not just scoring. The entire box score has inflated to levels we've never seen. From points to rebounds and assists, even efficiency. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is putting up prime Jordan numbers. Giannis is putting up prime Shaq numbers. Luka Doncic, well, no one's ever done what Luka's doing. There's a man averaging a 30-point triple-double right now, and it's starting to feel very normal. Either the best players in the NBA today are truly basketball-defining, all-time great, record-breaking talents better than anything that came before them, or there has been an inflation of stats that has completely skewed how we perceive the dominance of players today and the impact they are having from night to night. Or both of these options are true at the same time. The trend of bigger stat lines didn't begin overnight. It has been slowly inching up for about a decade now. The stat line of 25, 5, and 5 was at one point such a difficult stat line to average.
I'm gonna break it down
just
now.
Achieved just 7 times throughout the entire decade.
Okay, do you see how earlier it said that like back then they used to score like 88 points? Going back to why Jordan was so great, like I'm gonna get a nigga his credit. The reason why Jordan was so fucking dominant is because the stats he was putting up was during that era. So like, my nigga, like this is what people don't understand. Jordan used to have like 45, but his team has like 86. Like that's why this nigga was dominant. Now there's a reason. It has to do with pace. It has to do with floor spacing, the rise of the three-pointer, and the spacing around the fucking floor. So now, say back in the day when Kobe and Jordan would get the rock and they're in the mid-range, everyone was more so like kind of within the arc. So now you could double up on niggas in the post. Now there's the paint is way more clogged. You can kick it out to a nigga. You couldn't kick it. Like back then, niggas weren't focusing on threes as much. You know what I'm saying? With the rise of the three, right then, you're already generating way more points. And then on top of that, when you were trying to attack the paint, it was way more clogged because of floor spacing. Because it wasn't as much floor spacing back then. So now it's giving niggas the ability to go and dominate, get way more points. The court is way more spaced out, so you can take niggas one-on-one better. There's no hand checking. most of the shit that niggas do, they're getting called for fouls now. Like it's a lot of reasons why scoring is the way it
of
is.
the 90s. 5 of those 7 seasons were Michael Jordan. Throughout the 2000s, the pool of players to hit this threshold jumped to 18. By the mid-2010s, pace began to increase around the league. Heliocentric offenses began to take over, and the 25, 5, and 5 stat line was no longer a rarity, as 30 individual seasons met this threshold. And then the 2020s began, where 25, 5, and 5 has become an afterthought. Not even noteworthy. We are in the 7th season of the decade, and there have already been 50 individual seasons where players have averaged the once extremely rare stat line. As many 25, 5, and 5 seasons in the last 3 years alone as there were in the entire 90s and 2000s combined. And you really don't have to go back very far to see this inflation play out. Back in 2011, Kevin Durant won his 2nd straight scoring title, averaging a league-leading 27.7 points per game. One of just 7 players to average at least 20.
Yeah, and now 7 players average 20. Now it's like fucking like 30
25 a game that season. But this season, Durant's 27.7 a game would have him ranked 10th in the league in scoring. We aren't talking about the 80s or 90s or even 2000s. This was just in the last decade. Go back far enough into NBA history and fans will begin to put an air attacks on players who played in a weaker league throughout the 60s, 70s, and some fans go as far as the 80s. But now the opposite effect is beginning to happen. Fans are now putting an air attacks on today's players for playing in a league with inflated stats. Now, the problem isn't simply the fact that
I don't think so, though. I feel like most niggas are like, yo, niggas now are much better than niggas back then. I'm gonna get to
modern players are putting up bigger numbers. It's that these bigger numbers are being used without enough context to make arguments for modern players over players of the past. As the numbers continue to get bigger, what was once seen as impressive or even historic begins to hold less and less value. In 1998, during his last season with the Bulls, Michael Jordan averaged 29 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists a night on 53% true shooting. It wasn't his most impressive season statistically, but it was more than enough to earn him a scoring title, All-NBA First Team, and a league MVP. Fast forward nearly 30 years, and there's a player with a similar stat line in the NBA today.
This is Austin Reeves.
28, 6, and 7 a game on 66% true shooting. Numbers that are arguably better than MVP Jordan. But this isn't Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's not Luka or Anthony Edwards.
Reeves.
It's Austin Reeves, a second option who is currently putting up a better box score than the best player in the world less than 30 years ago. But it doesn't take a basketball savant to know Austin Reeves is not as productive, impactful, or as good as Michael Jordan was. And yet, without enough context, some people could, and unfortunately some people have, made this argument in favor of modern players. Stats throughout the NBA today are...
Again, I'm sorry to keep pausing, but I want to break it down to y'all, and after this is gonna be, you do not be one of those niggas who use this logic against and say, yo, these niggas are better than those niggas back then. Because I'm going to keep it 100. This is all these niggas you're watching right now, this is going to happen to them. All of these niggas, it's going to happen to them in like 20 years. I promise you. I will say the average player, like the average bench player, or maybe like the average role player, or maybe like the average like 13th man on the bench is probably better than like the 13th man back then. Maybe like the role players are slightly better, you know? Like I'll say shit like that. But the stars, any star from like the 90s could still hoop today. I'm going to keep it on it. We're gonna get to it though.
A bit inflated compared to the past.
Cause y'all gonna see
exactly
they're gonna do it to these
causing this
niggas.
inflation? And are these numbers a true reflection of the impact players are making? The game today is undoubtedly faster than it was in the past, specifically 15, 20 years ago. If we look at the average number of possessions per game over the last 3 decades, the pace of games around the league has increased drastically over the last 20 years, from just 90 possessions a game in 2006 to 100 possessions today. This value.
And then this is just with possessions. You now have to factor in 3-point shooting and foul calls and shit like that. Because I want y'all to understand, the league does prefer offense. So back in the day, bro, you go back, niggas used to get called for travels for doing Euro steps. Bro, there was a big controversy with AI's crossover because everyone was saying that it's a travel. When he used to hit his shit, they always used to say it's a carry, it's a travel. Euros used to get called for travel sometimes. Gathers, and then the foul calls people used to get were totally different. The league knew that what's best for business is better offense and niggas hitting all type of crazy shit. So they let niggas get away with a lot of shit. Like when Harden was doing all that step back, everyone knew it was a travel, but the league let him get away with it for so long because he was dominating the game and he was putting people in seats and getting people to go out to games and buy tickets. They value scoring. Scoring is what draws eyes to the game. So they allow niggas to get away with much more than they did back then. So it's going to lead to more scoring, more threes, all of that.
Right here, known as the dead ball era, where games would regularly end with teams scoring under 90 points. If we want to talk about taxing an era, it's these players here who really got the short end of the stick when it comes to the box score. They essentially played less basketball than any other era in NBA history. But faster pace doesn't exactly...
And shot less threes. So I'm trying to tell you, when niggas be like, yo, MJ would average 40 now. Kobe would average, like... Yeah, gang, I'm telling you, like... It's not me trying to be like the old head niggas like, yo, this league is soft. I'm just telling you, the scoring is way higher now.
Explain the increase in output that we're seeing around the league today. If we level out the pace and look at how many points teams are generating...
They'll still be around. I'm sorry to keep pausing. If you level it now to possessions, this now will still be more. But like I said, that's because of the league favoring scoring, allowing more foul calls, allowing niggas to get away with more traveling and shit, and the increase of the 3 ball, which translates to more points.
Per 100 possessions, then scoring today is still way up from where it was in the past.
Exactly.
From 1997 clear up until about 2016, teams around the league scored about 105 points per 100 possessions. Today, that number is up 10% to 116 points per 100 possessions. So even considering the pace of play, teams today are scoring the ball and generating more offense than they ever have. If we look at some of the absurd numbers from top players around the league this season and adjust their numbers to a more modest pace like what we used to see in the 2000s and early 2010s, well, then their numbers come down a bit, but they're still absurd. Shea and Maxey are still averaging 30. Luka is still averaging 32, 8, and 8.
Now, cut down threes. Allow hand checking. Like I'm telling you, it'll go down.
And Jokic
more.
still has a 30-point triple-double. As nice as it would be to just explain all of this away with pace, the speed at which games are played today is not as big of a factor as it is said to be. So what exactly are the other factors? The league has very slowly, very deliberately nudged teams and players in the direction of more offense for the past few decades.
What did I say, nigga? What did I say? This is why Shea, like, I fuck with Shea heavy. Bro, a lot of the shit now, some other players like Kobe did get a lot of free throws, but it was them niggas were getting whacked. Like the shit that Shea gets, they wouldn't let slide, but it's because it's entertaining for basketball. Harden doing his step backs and shit, they let them get away. Certain screens that Curry might have run off of that used to be illegal screens, they let them get away with it because it's good for the game, it's good for eyes, it's good for, you know, offense is better for eyes on the NBA, and it gets the NBA more recognition, it gets them big more viewership, all of that. So if they have to sacrifice some rules for it, they're gonna do it. And if they're gonna take away hand checking, other rules, and call less fouls and shit, they'll do it.
So what exactly are the other factors? The league has very slowly, very deliberately nudged teams and players in the direction of more offense for the past few decades. Look back through the history of rule changes, and there's a very clear pattern. In the 80s, the NBA added the three-point line. Throughout the 90s, they cracked down on hand checking and implemented new rules to attempt to speed up the game. In the early 2000s, they added defensive 3 seconds.
And then they affected the zone defense back then.
Cut the time to cross half court, got rid of hand checking virtually altogether, and implemented freedom of movement rules that essentially outlawed all the bumping and rerouting that used to happen on every possession. At the same time, the league's interpretation of dribbling rules was heavily loosened. Players could now get away with
another aspect I don't see here is shot clock reset. So say you shoot the ball and you hit the rim and your team gets an offensive board. The clock doesn't reset to 24 seconds. It used to reset to 24 seconds. Now it resets to 14 seconds. That's another aspect to it.
A lot more with the ball in their hands, and the creativity and depth of skill set began to explode. The NBA has always been a fast-paced run-and-gun league, and anytime it began to slow down, the league manufactured ways to speed it back up, even going as far as changing the very landscape of the court to incentivize players to shoot shots they typically wouldn't. Or in cases that we see today, allowing players to get away with movements and exploits that are very explicitly prohibited. Or at least they're supposed to be. In reality, the NBA has always wanted more offense. And so it should be no surprise that players are producing more offense. Another often cited reason for the explosion of production in the NBA today is the prevalence of heliocentric basketball, the concept of an offensive system built around one player. In the NBA today, superstars around the league get more touches than ever. They get to make more decisions than ever.
Okay, I'm sorry to keep pausing, but players like Steve Nash, bro, if Steve Nash played right now, Steve Nash would be looked at as like one of the greatest point guards of all time. I'm not gonna say... Like, I'm telling y'all niggas, if Steve Nash played right now and was allowed to get the green light to shoot as much as he wanted, bro, Steve Nash could be putting like 25 and 10 a night. I'm telling y'all. Bro, Steve Nash shot 50, 40, 90 for that nigga damn near shot 50, 40, 90 for his career. He just didn't shoot as much as he should have. If he did, that Suns team would have been way more dominant. And that's the thing with the back then there was roles. So you have a Stockton who's a point guard. He's made to just facilitate. Steve Nash just facilitate. Jason Kidd just facilitate. Rondo just facilitate. Rondo didn't really have an offensive back. Same thing with Kidd, but even the ones who could have a reason to go develop their offensive game and be dominant, you're one of the best players on the team, but you're strictly just facilitating the offense and not going out and scoring nothing. There's a reason that when one of your best players isn't out here scoring and doing the shit they need to do, it doesn't translate to you winning anything. Nash, the team's best offensive weapon. He's taking some of the least shots and just trying to facilitate because so many people relied so much on playing their role. Point guard facilitates the offense. Shooting guards takes the shots. Small forwards are versatile and do a bit of both. Centers, they go attack the rim and play defense. You know what I mean? There was so much focus on people's position, and that equates to the role where now you can have a guy like Giannis and Jokic who bring the ball up the court and are not only facilitating the offense and passing, but getting boards and scoring. So they can stuff the stat sheet. Stuff it. Shit that niggas couldn't do back then. You know what I'm saying? Hakeem could never come down the court with the ball and go in the post and kick it out to niggas and do none of that. That wasn't even something looked at for him to do at all. Your point guard does that. So because of the sacrifices from these niggas, it allowed for the new generation to be able to do shit they would have never been able to do before. You see what I'm saying?
And as a result, their numbers get an inherent boost due to their highly ball-dominant style of play. Put the ball in the hands of your best player, regardless of circumstance or situation. And although this play style is slowly dying out with teams like the Thunder, Celtics, and Spurs bringing back team-oriented ball, the stars of the league are still perceived as beneficiaries of this philosophy. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the definition of a power forward, and yet he regularly brings the ball up the court.
See what I'm saying? Even if KG was capable of doing this, they wouldn't have allowed him to do that back then. He's a power forward. That's not the position he plays isn't meant to do that. See what I'm saying?
Are still perceived as beneficiaries of this philosophy. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the definition of a power forward, and yet he regularly brings the ball up the court. He's averaging 6 assists a night, assist numbers that were almost unheard of from a rim-running big man in past eras, and a testament to his elite playmaking ability. But these assists aren't coming off of in-and-out reads or remarkable passing. They are coming directly from him diving downhill, collapsing defenses, and kicking out to open shooters. Compared to players of a similar skill set in the past, Giannis has the benefit of simply having the ball more and having the opportunity to initiate the offense. Nikola Jokic is a center, and yet he has the green light to be the Nuggets' point guard whenever he sees fit. Luka Doncic has so much freedom on offense, the league doesn't even know what position he plays. On any given possession, the play may very well begin and end with him. Ultimately, he gets to decide how and where he's utilized whenever he's on the court. Players today simply have more freedom to indulge in their abilities and capitalize on their skill sets. And this extra freedom has created better opportunities for these stars on offense. If we look at the usage of the top 20...
That's what I'm trying to get niggas to understand. When remember D-Rose won MVP, it was niggas who were saying Ja Morant in 2022 was better than D-Rose because I think D-Rose MVP season, he averaged like 25 and 6 and shit. I think Ja beat him in like every major stat. Like he averaged like 27 and 7 and all type of shit. But Ja Morant's impact for that season is not comparable to what D-Rose did back then. Like D-Rose carried that Bulls team. That Bulls team that D-Rose was on was the 1 seed over the Heat with Bron, Wade, and Bosh. Over the Spurs with Timmy and all those niggas. Over the Lakers with Paul and all them niggas. And Kobe and shit. Over the Thunder with KD, Russ, and all them niggas. Like, the shit he was doing, it's way deeper than just a stat line. Now niggas are getting scoring at a way higher rate. That's why you need to get niggas to understand.
Many players in the league season by season over the last 30 years, the growth of offensive burden for these stars lines up with the growth in their box score. Usage crept up from the 90s to the 2000s as MJ's departure from the league brought on a new era of hero ball. Usage then plateaued for a bit with the introduction of the super team era, and then immediately jumped again as heliocentric offenses became a common strategy around the league. And it continues to climb to this day. More touches, more shots, more opportunities, bigger numbers. And although this may explain the increase in numbers for the stars, even the players who aren't benefiting from this style of offense, bench guys, role players, their numbers have also climbed to unprecedented levels, which means there's still one factor unaccounted for. And it is the one variable that's
I think it's 3-point shooting.
Sets today's players apart from any other era in NBA history. Efficiency. Aside from just the pace of play and the change in play style, the biggest reason why scoring and overall output has increased is because efficiency has increased. Across the board, shooting percentage has jumped considerably and consistently over the last 3 decades. From field goal percentage to true shooting percentage to even the most objective measure of shooting accuracy, free throw percentage. Even when given the same number of scoring opportunities, players today are capitalizing on those opportunities.
Again, like I said, I'm not saying players that I just want to reiterate. I'm not saying players that this generation is ass. Like, I'm not saying nothing like that. I just want you to understand, because this is going to happen to these niggas. I want y'all to know, because before 20 seasons from now, it's gonna happen to the niggas we're watching now. So I want y'all to understand. There's reasons for this. There's more spacing. Before, everyone was crammed within the arc. Some niggas kind of standing at the 3 line. It was harder to get a bucket back then. You could get away with more. There was hand checking. There's a lot of other reasons as to why niggas weren't shooting as well. Another thing, free throw percentage, which also directly correlates with league average true shooting, because free throw counts for that. Right now, if you look at field goal percentage, it's only 2.1% higher. Again, this is because niggas where there's less spacing. You're getting way less open shots. You're in the key. You're getting double teamed. When it goes to league average free throw percentage, big men like Shaq, Ben Wallace, all of those niggas, they didn't need they didn't worry about working on free throws. They know they're gonna get in the paint, dunk. Now you're seeing an era where big men are focusing and fixating way more on their shooting, free throws, 3-pointers, mid ranges, all of that. So now that right there accounts for, and power forwards as well. You see power forwards like Chris Tapps, AD, Wemby, all of these big men and centers and power forwards who are doing this shit. This is also reasoning as to why free throw percentages are going up. This is also a reason why league true shooting is going up. You know what I mean?
Opportunities far more often. So not only has the pace of the game increased, at the same time, players and teams have become more accurate shooters and scorers.
Getting better
for
looks.
many years, the gold standard for efficient volume scoring was 60% true shooting. If you could average 20 a game on this kind of efficiency, you were as lethal as it gets in the NBA. In fact, there have been many seasons where not a single player in the league hit this threshold. That, however, is not the case today. As this season, there are 27 volume scorers who have a true shooting percentage of at least 60%. Part of this is because there are simply more players averaging 20 a game, but the underlying theme persists. Over time, players have gotten extremely good at putting the ball in the hoop. Not just in terms of volume,
I will agree with that. I also think it's the way that the defense is played. You know what I mean?
But in accuracy. The real question then becomes, why?
Like, I wouldn't say Benedict Mathurin is and Trey Murphy III are more efficient scorers than like Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler, and all these niggas. You know what I mean?
Players more efficient today than they were in the past. And the answer, again, isn't as simple as it seems. Part of the reason why players today are more efficient at scoring the ball is because they are, in fact, more skilled. Players and teams around the league have taken what works from those that can.
I will agree with like role players, like for example, like I don't know, more skilled. I don't know. I think you can do much more things to get away with shots and get certain shit in the basket. Like Euros, they used to call Euros travels. The crossover AI used to do, that was a carry. They used to call that, these niggas were petitioning. Like players like Tim Hardaway, you were like, not Junior, Tim Hardaway, the older one. They were like, yo, nigga, that shit's a carry. Certain shit that you could do to get good looks, you just couldn't do back then. You know what I mean? Hand checking was more of a thing. It's a lot of reasonings. I would say like the average player, like a 6-man, and those niggas have definitely probably gotten more skilled. But I wouldn't say like most of these niggas are more skilled than Hakeem or MJ or fucking Mark Lee and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Came before them, tweaked the formula, and improved on their methods. As outside shooting has become a larger part of emphasis in the NBA today, modern players have spent more time and effort getting good at that part of the game.
Yeah.
Teams also understand and exploit certain advantages more now than they have before. One simple but revolutionary shift teams made was their emphasis on three-pointers. Get good enough at them and you can score more points faster than before with greater efficiency by leveraging the statistical.
Exactly, because if I kick a 3 open to a nigga who's open in the corner, that is still a higher percentage shot than MJ posting a nigga up and fading away with 2 niggas trying to close out on him and double team him. So this is why it's way more, the court is way more spaced out. If it's 4 shooters around MJ and he posts a nigga up, you can't go and collapse and send 2 niggas to contest him in the post because he will kick that out. We see Jokic do that all the time. And they're going to chuck up a 3. Back then, the 3 wasn't as utilized, so it was way less spacing. MJ going to take that shot over 2 niggas. Because that shot is more high percentage look than him kicking out to niggas who barely shoot 3s. You get what I'm saying?
Advantage of the three-pointer. This shift didn't just change the points on the board, it changed the very geometry of the game and what skill sets are valuable.
Exactly.
Not only are players better at shooting the ball now, but smarter, more complex offenses now set players up for better, more open looks. Thanks to tracking data and advanced metrics, organizations around the league can now pinpoint exactly where the best shots are and how to get those shots more often. If someone had convinced KG to just take one step back on all of his long 2s, his numbers would probably have looked a lot better, and his efficiency would have naturally increased. As teams got smarter, shot selection got better. 3s and layups have taken over the shot diet of players around the league, and scoring numbers not only went up, but they got significantly more efficient. Pair this better understanding of where the advantages lie with about 10 extra possessions a game, and you've got a recipe for larger scoring numbers both for teams and individual players. As Bill Simmons once said, the math of the game changed to favor the box score. Some would call this evolution. Others may call it optimization. Take what works, double down on it, get rid of what doesn't work. 20 years ago, the Phoenix Suns were reinventing offense under Mike D'Antoni and breaking records with their volume and pace. First in the league in points per game, 3-point attempt rate, 3-point percentage.
I promise you, they're first in the league. They're probably going to have like 100. They average like 100 points, maybe less.
True shooting percentage, and just about every other offensive metric. They were far and away the best offensive team in the league. And yet, compared to today's standards, the 06 Phoenix Suns were sluggish, inefficient. Look at a shot map from that 06 Suns team, and you can see exactly how teams approached offense.
Look how many mid-range shots they took. I'm telling you, because you're clogged. When you're doing that, when you're shooting middies, and niggas are stepping inside more, the forwards, the centers are all gonna clog the paint. And if you say you post up, you step back, some of these niggas will jump to try and close out. It's a way harder shot. It's a less efficient shot to take than if you take bare 3s and bare shots in the paint. So that's why the people who are able to do it and do it at a high level, the Kobe's, the MJs, they're demons. They're demons. And in this era, I'm telling you, they would average 40, nigga. I'm telling y'all niggas they would average 40. Because y'all are crazy if you think in this era, those niggas with that work ethic, they wouldn't be able to develop a shot. Even like niggas like Kobe had a shot. Like niggas trying to say MJ didn't have a shot because he shoot like 18% from 3, whatever. He didn't shoot 3s. So that 18% that niggas were talking about is the shot clock is winding down. There's 1 second left. He has to chuck up a shot. The quarter's about to end. Another thing that is going to play a major effect in efficiency that they just implemented, and we're going to see this efficiency go up more. When you shoot a shot at the end of the quarter, that doesn't count as a field goal anymore. If you do a half court heave, that doesn't count as a field goal anymore. MJ's 3-point percentage, when niggas are like, oh, he's shooting 18%. That's him chucking up a 3 at the end of the shot clock. Him chucking up a 3 at the end of the quarter and shit. Or he might get an open ass look in the corner, but it's the 4th quarter. He hasn't shot a single 3 this game. He has no chance. He hasn't had no time to shoot a couple and get into a rhythm from 3. So he probably shoots, he misses a wide open. You know what I mean? That's what they're going off his 3 ball. If this was a necessary part of the game back then, they would have been elite. Because that's what the greatest players do. They develop their game. Same shit LeBron. And when LeBron came in the league, the 3 wasn't that reliant. Now he hit in one of these ones. pulling up from fucking 40 feet out. That's what the greats do. They develop their game for the era. So these niggas would have been fucked right now. I'm telling y'all niggas. These niggas would have been putting up crazy numbers. Look at the red when it comes to their mid-range shooting. Look how bad it is. The mid-range is a less efficient shot. So when it comes to players like Kobe and MJ who are able to dominate in those spaces, that's why I give them their credit. They're demons.
In an era that featured
the
like
lowest
point totals in NBA history, despite their best spots on the court being near the rim and from beyond three, the Suns attempted the majority of their shots in here, mid-range, somewhere in between. From beyond the three-point line, they scored 1.2 points per shot, the best three-point shooting team in the NBA. From within 6 feet, they scored 1.25 points per shot, and everywhere else, they scored just 0.85 points per shot.
See what I'm saying?
Now, why did the Suns shoot so many shots from areas on the court where they were least efficient? Well, at the time, they weren't. That season, the Phoenix Suns shot more threes than any team in NBA history. They thought they were shooting a lot of high percentage shots. Fast forward 20 years, and we now know you can take this concept a whole lot further. Compare the 06 Suns to the best offense in the league today, the Denver Nuggets, and you'll see not just how the game has changed, but the effects of the...
Now look, they're averaging damn near the same amount of points near the rim and near the three. 1.2. Or points per shot, I mean. Like, look. 1.2, 1.25, 1.2, 1.26. Damn near the same. They're shooting way worse from shots in between. They're shooting better. But look how much less shots they're taking from the mid-range. Look how much compared to them.
Those changes. In 2006, the Suns scored 106.4 points per
again,
game.
It's not that the Nuggets are insanely more efficient at shooting than them. They're shooting the same. They're making around the same points on threes, and nearly the same at the rim. They're just taking less shots from this area. Way less, so their efficiency is naturally going up. My fault. Let me move this. Look, points per game. 106. Look at the increase of the 3-ball and pace. Fuck, I dropped my shit. 1.25. Look at the pace. Even if you adjusted their pace to match theirs, I'm sorry to keep yapping, but if you adjusted their pace to match theirs, their points still wouldn't be near these niggas. They might be at like 112. They would still be significantly less than these niggas. Their true shooting is lower. This also probably has to do with free throws because like big men aren't that efficient compared to now. You know what I mean? How much of these niggas are their big men are out shooting Jokic at the free throw line? But if you look at both of these, it's really the three-point shot that is boosting this number that significantly over this one. It's not actually the percentage-wise. They're shooting the same. They're averaging the same amount of points per shot.
This season, the Nuggets
My
scored
favorite streamer,
125 points per game. But I want you to take notice of a few different metrics here, like pace. The Suns had a pace of 95.8 possessions per game, which isn't too far off from this year's Nuggets with 98.9 possessions
Adjusted,
per game.
they're still significantly
Even when
less.
you adjust these teams to the same exact pace, the Nuggets are scoring 125.9 points per 100 possessions to the Suns' 111.5, despite
what did I say? I said 112.
Exact efficiency. Both
Same. See what I'm saying, gang?
The Nuggets are scoring 125.9 points per 100 possessions to the Suns' 111.5, despite having the same exact efficiency both near the rim and from outside. So where are all of these extra points coming from?
The midi
well,
versus
from
the
near
three.
the rim and outside. After further investigation, the league realized that these shots here in between are just not worth the hassle. They literally aren't worth as much as other shots. In 2006, the Suns, a revolutionary offense, shot 40% of their shots from this in-between area.
I'm going to take a guess. Theirs might be like 20.
This year, the Nuggets only shoot 19% of their shots
I'm not wrong about nigga. I'm telling you, my basketball IQ is like that.
from this area. The NBA has game theoried its way to the most productive, most efficient version of basketball. Steve Nash was one of the greatest shooters in NBA history, shot nearly 45% from three for nearly a decade.
And barely shot that. That's what I'm telling you. It's like niggas like Steve Nash in this era will be stupid right now. Like 25 and 11, nigga. I'm telling you. 25 and 10. This nigga averaged damn near 50, 40, 90 for his career, bro. Like, if I show you his career splits, he's averaging damn near 50, 40, 90. He just didn't shoot, man.
He only attempted 3 to 4 3-pointers a game. Why? Well, because they just didn't know any better.
Look at his splits. 50, 40, and his shit's almost 90, nigga. Like, I think his free throw is 90, and it's just so he's 1% below 50. He averaged damn near 50, 40, 90 for his career, my nigga. Like,
we played a style that was thought to be revolutionary at the time, but really,
these niggas laid the foundation for the new niggas to go stupid. Steve Nash would probably dominate in today's era. I'm saying.
We should have doubled down. And Mike said this before. We should have played faster.
His usage would have went up. That nigga would be averaging like 25 and 11, nigga.
Played smaller. We should have shot.
Averaging 11
more.
assists back then. Way less three-point shooters to kick it out to. You really gonna have to get some good dimes to get that many assists. Bro, he's playing with shooters in the corner. Shooters coming off of screens.
Threes. We were just playing a style that suited our roster, suited our personnel. It was foreshadowing for the future. I think I was too conservative shooting the ball. Like, I should have walked into way more threes. I should have looked for more threes. But I didn't come out like guns blazing, try to, get 20 in the first half because I didn't think that would do my team any favors.
Because they were conditioned to believe that the point guard is the nigga who facilitates the offense.
Now we know numerically, it just makes way too much sense. Not enough sense. The game wasn't ready for that yet.
Right.
We didn't value the analytics. We probably weren't even.
People say Steve Nash didn't deserve his MVPs, but if you say this nigga play, he was a demon. That's what I'm saying. They just look at stats. They don't actually know. The way he was orchestrating the court, his 15 was 15 because of the role he was playing. But he's really responsible for like 40 some points, 15 rebounds or assists back then is like 40. I'm telling you, like, he was putting in work, my nigga.
Analyzing things to the extent we are now, or even.
It's like Chris Paul. It's like Chris Paul. I'm sorry to keep pausing, but like, remember when Chris Paul went to the Thunder? Niggas thought the Thunder were gonna be like the 13th seed in the West, and he brought them all the way to the fucking playoffs as like the 6th seed, the same record that Westbrook had, like the same seed that Westbrook had when he averaged a 30-point triple-double. Their impact went way deeper than just their scoring and their numbers.
3 years after 2007.
And then they took like 2 games from the Rockets.
More than personnel, more than pace. How teams are approaching offense and the extent to which they understand the value of each shot and how to get those shots is by far the largest contributor to the inflation of numbers we see today. Not only have players leveraged the knowledge and skills of those that came before them to become better players, teams around the league have leveraged the data and systems of teams that came before them to create offenses tailor-made for these new, improved players. The evolution
I think the Thunder
of
should pick him up, bro.
Isn't necessarily in the talent itself, it's how the talent is utilized.
Yup.
Nikola Jokic is a generational player, and he also plays in a system that allows him to maximize all of his.
Nikola Jokic would never bring the ball up in the fucking like 2000s. Never, nigga. They see Nikola Jokic trying to spark a three, the coach would fucking lose his mind, nigga.
Abilities. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter ever, but he also plays in an era that allowed him to reach his potential. Luka Doncic is one of the most versatile offensive engines the game has ever seen, and he also plays in a league that allows him to be a point guard, or a shooting guard, or a small forward on any given possession. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is putting up prime Michael Jordan numbers. He really is that good. But he also plays in the smartest, most efficient, cerebral era in the NBA's history, primed for the next Michael Jordan. Are the numbers we see in the NBA today a symptom of stat inflation, or have the players simply gotten better? Well, it's both. The math has changed the game, but the players have changed too.
And this is simple. This comes down to evolution. The game evolves. That's why I'm telling you, do not start saying shit like, oh, the 90s was at, cause it's going to happen to these niggas. It's evolution. It's gonna keep happening. I'm telling you, there's gonna come a point in the NBA. Listen to me, I'm telling y'all. There's gonna come a point where we excel in the NBA, and so many niggas are gonna be taking deep shots that, remember when the 3-point line got introduced? Niggas were like, this is some circus shit. Why the fuck are we adding this to the NBA? I promise you, there's gonna come a point where there's a 4-point line introduced, because they're gonna be like, yo, we have to reward niggas for pulling up from 40 fucking feet out. We have to. There's gonna come a point where there's a 4-point line, I'm telling y'all. And when they introduce that, the type of flack, there's gonna be some niggas who are pulling up from deep like that. Easy, knocking that shit down like it's nothing. You're gonna have niggas just knocking shit like down. niggas are gonna say, yo, those niggas back then could never do it. I'm telling y'all, it's gonna happen. It's going to happen. There's gonna come a point where the views start to stagnate for the league. Niggas are pulling it from deeper and deeper. They're gonna start rewarding niggas for that, adding a 4-point line. You've already seen them do it, implement shit like that in the 3-point contest, where like you step back, there's like a shot that gives you like extra points. It's going to come. There's gonna come a point in time where the league is full of niggas like Wemby. There's gonna be niggas who are 7-foot running point guard coming off the screens. Wemby's an anomaly right now. Wemby didn't have a chance to exist before back then because Wemby's no center is being no 7'4", 5 or 7'5" nigga is being trained to come up the court with the ball, come off a screen and knock down a 3, go off the dribble, step back and hit a 3. But now there's going to be niggas who are being developed to play like that. So there's gonna come a point in time where there's gonna be some nigga named DeJounte who is a 7-footer, 7'2" nigga who's fast as fuck, who's running off of screens and pulling up from the fucking logo and knocking down shots. And you niggas are gonna say, yo, if LeBron played in this era, he would have got his ass busted because he was already getting fucked up. This is what they're gonna say. He was getting his ass fucked up by a 5'5" light skinned nigga who was running off of screens and knocking down 3s. When this nigga comes, this nigga would not. He was getting fucked up by a little 5'5" light skinned nigga who was running off of screens and knocking down 3s. Imagine he was going against this nigga DeJounte who's 7'1", who's coming off of screens and pulling from the logo. He would get cooked. That's what I'm telling you. Don't do that shit with the eras, bro. Because it's gonna happen to this one. It's going to happen. This is evolution. This is how the game evolves. Like, I give MJ, Kobe, and them niggas credit because they would still dominate today. Like, nigga, yeah, MJ would have 45 points, but he would have that strictly off of twos while shooting efficiently, and his fucking team has 88 points. So, bro, don't get lost in this shit. I'm telling y'all niggas, bro, because it's gonna happen to your all these niggas y'all idolize now. It's gonna happen to them. 20 seasons from now, y'all will see. Y'all will see. All right.
Something, baby, I like just how you blushing. And maybe we could bust it at the function. Turn nothing to something. Wish you could just see the horrors of my life may upbring.